This is KVUE News Daybreak.
Worried about their water. The tense emotional meeting over unsafe fluoride water levels in Gerald.
And it was a late night for the Austin School Board. 40 projects approved, but no actual vote on the bond. Why they decided to wait.
You know, we feel it here in Texas. It is hot. But across the country, some have it even worse, believe it or not. The extreme heat causing things to shut down at least one airport. Good morning to you, and thank you for joining us for KVUE News Daybreak. It's 5 a.m. I'm Brian May.
And I'm Yvonne Nava. It is Tuesday, June 20th. Let's get a look at what we're tracking out there with Storm Team Meteorologist Erica Lopez. Yo, how's it going?
Hey there, guys. Good morning. We're tracking lots of activity just east of us. Here's the recent updates on the flash flood watches and also tropical storm warnings in effect for the south coast of the Gulf of Mexico. And this is why potential tropical storm 3 is in effect, now making its way further to the north. But thankfully, we're missing it here in central Texas. Houston may get some rain from it. Further east Louisiana, you're seeing a lot of it already. Temperatures here in central Texas slightly above average, and it's kind of cool and comfortable. That's because the north-northeast wind is in place at 3 miles an hour. Dew points are in the 70s. Here's what we're tracking: a warm up by Friday, 99 degrees. It's going to feel like 105 when you factor in the humidity that will increase by this Friday. And Avid has an update on the roads this morning. How are they looking?
All right, thank you, Erica. Good morning out there. This is a live look at Mopac at 35th Street. You can see that construction on Mopac is very well underway. It shouldn't be wrapping up until 6 a.m., so just make sure you drive safely if you're out on the roads. Now, the overnight construction that was happening between San Marcos and Kyle, that is now wrapped up on I-35 northbound. The outside lane should be open between Blanco River to Yarrington Road, and so that now resulted in the Yarrington Road 210 exit to be fully finished. Now you can exit that way. The previous Yarrington Road exit that you had previously, that is now permanently closed. So just keep that in mind, guys. Back to you at the desk.
All right, Annavi, thank you. 5:02, just about. Senate Democrats held a late-night talkathon for over 6 hours last night over the way their Republican colleagues are crafting their replacement for Obamacare. A group of 13 Republican senators have been working on the repeal and replace of the Affordable Care Act for weeks now, but Democrats are furious they aren't involved in the process.
What are you afraid of? Bring that bill out.
People are literally in tears on the phone. They are scared and they are angry.
The President of the United States called it mean.
Well, Republicans hope to get their measure to the floor for a vote before the end of the month.
All new from overnight, Austin Independent School District one step closer to sending a nearly $1 billion bond to voters in November. Board members worked into the early morning hours to approve all the potential projects. KVUE's Corey Coffin joins us now live in the newsroom to lay out all the changes the district would like to see. Corey?
Well, Brian, good morning to you. AISD board members approved some 40 projects for about $990 million. The district wants to stay below the $1 billion mark because otherwise they'll have to raise taxes, making it less likely that the bond would come to pass in November. Now, even though the board members worked about 8 hours to get this far, they stopped just short of actually voting on calling for that bond for the November election. They decided instead to vote on that next week. This was at the urging of parents and community members who requested time to vet all the changes decided upon tonight rather early in the morning. Others voiced concern over which projects are actually being chosen and whom they affect.
And I will wait to see what our bond package looks like. Will it follow through and be inclusive, or will it once again privilege a few, a definably mostly white, mostly wealthy few?
We hear the commitment to Northeast Austin. We hear all these words, but at the same time, we're offering up a bond package of $110 million that could easily reinvent 3 Eastside middle schools.
Is she speaking in reference to 1 school versus 3 middle schools? Now, the package includes a new elementary school to relieve overcrowding in Northwest Austin, the modernization project for Martin Middle School, and a middle school in the Mueller development. Now, the community is also urging AISD build a middle school in Northeast Austin. It's something that many of the board members are pushing for and even threatened to oppose the bond if that project was not added. The school board plans to take up the vote on the bond package next week. Live in the newsroom, I'm Corey Coffin for KVUE News.
Corey, thanks. Austin leaders want a judge to step in and stop Senate Bill 4, the law which would allow police to question the immigration status of anyone they detain. It goes into effect September the 1st, and now the United States Department of Justice may join the SB 4 lawsuit. No pleadings have been filed, but given President Trump's stance on immigration, Mayor Adler believes the Department of Justice will argue in favor of SB 4. Mayor Steve Adler and several members of City Council filed briefs with the federal court yesterday. They argue the law is unconstitutional. They also say it will hurt residents and make the city less safe.
If you value family values, if you value hard work, if you value people that risk everything to better the lives of themselves and their families, if you basically value the American dream of prosperity, you should be appalled by SB 4.
Now, those in favor of Senate Bill 4 do not believe it targets or discriminates against illegal immigrants. Austin, one of several cities, suing the state over SB 4. They'll be in court in San Antonio next Monday.
All right, 5:05 is your time, and many questions around the death of an American student held captive by North Korea for 17 months. 22-year-old Otto Warmbier died just days after being released home to the United States. ABC's Janae Norman has the latest on what doctors say may have caused his death.
He was the college junior turned North Korean prisoner. Otto Warmbier was enrolled at the University of Virginia when he traveled to the communist country and was captured on video stealing a propaganda poster. State media claiming he was working to defame North Korea as a pawn of the U.S. government. Despite his pleas for mercy, he was sentenced to 15 years hard labor.
Please save my life. Please think of my family.
That confession would be the last time Otto's family would hear his voice. After 17 months, he returned home, but upon arrival, Otto was carried off a plane, unable to walk, talk, or respond to verbal commands.
His neurological condition can be best described as a state of unresponsive wakefulness.
Doctors said they saw no evidence of physical beatings or of botulism, which North Korean officials claim Otto contracted after taking a sleeping pill. But the family isn't buying it.
Even if you believe their explanation of botulism and a sleeping pill causing the coma, and we don't, there is no excuse for any civilized nation to have kept his condition secret.
And just 6 days later, Otto died.
He was in very tough condition, but he just passed away a little while ago. It's a brutal regime, and we'll be able to handle it.
It's not clear what impact his death will have on the already tense situation between the United States and the rogue nuclear power, but at least one top Republican wants to ban tourist travel to North Korea after Otto Warmbier's death. Janae Norman, ABC News, Washington.
Meanwhile, Austin police are investigating a rape and robbery case out of Northeast Austin. Police say 5 female victims went to an apartment complex in Northeast Austin Friday night to pick up drugs, and they were zip-tied, raped, and robbed. One of the victims was able to get away and call 911. Altogether, there are 4 suspects involved in the case. 2 of the men accused of the crime are behind bars. 19-year-old Christopher Jaramillo of Austin is charged with aggravated sexual assault, aggravated kidnapping, and aggravated robbery. 23-year-old Dimitri Rogers, also from Austin, is charged with aggravated kidnapping and aggravated robbery. Police have warrants out for a 3rd suspect, 20-year-old Emmanuel Greer. The 4th suspect hasn't been identified.
5:08 now. People living in Jarrell and one community in Jarrell outraged over high levels of fluoride in their drinking water. Residents showed up at the Sonterra Mud headquarters last night to air their frustrations and concerns.
Once the well went offline, that was within the limits, and you guys knew that the well that's offline now at 4.7 was way over the limit, you would decide to put our health at risk.
We need to move forward as a community, but you need to hold yourselves accountable.
We apologize for the trouble with the audio there. The Municipal Utilities District managers explained that they have multiple solutions in the works, including new wells.
Again, I think the lesson for us is if you're working hard but not communicating, it's not happening. In the end, we can't go backwards, but moving into the future, we think we're much better prepared, and we stand behind our water source here in Sonterra.
Now, according to the MUD, the water levels are currently within the EPA guidelines for safe drinking water, but many residents told us they'll be sticking with bottled water at their own expense until the new solutions are completed.
American Airlines is hoping their planes will be ready for takeoff in Arizona today after extreme heat caused them difficulties yesterday. The airline had to cancel at least 20 flights stopping through the city, and that's because temperatures reached around 120 degrees. Airline officials say extremely hot temperatures make it hard for planes to take off from the ground. Those are temperatures you're quite used to, Erica. So what happens? Right. Do people just stay indoors, or do they cancel school? Or, well, not now, but I'm saying whenever it's like that during the school year?
Yeah, you pretty much just stay indoors, and I am familiar with that because I was born and raised in Phoenix, lived there for about 22 years or so. I do not miss that heat, but hey, the humidity, not that much greater here in Central Texas either. What we are waking up to this morning, it's not too bad though. 70s, lower 70s, even some upper 60s for some across our viewing area, but as for Austin, a partly cloudy start to our day. Now, the next 12 hours aren't going to be too bad. Our humidity levels are slightly lower because we have a northeast wind that's in place for the next couple of days, and our highs are expected to top out in the mid-90s throughout the viewing area. Here's a look at your forecasted highs across the entire viewing area. Some folks may be slightly warmer the further east you are, but we have had worse, such as this past weekend when we had plenty of triple-digit temps. Now, if you're planning to get your car washed, you're in luck, but we are tracking some rain chances by this weekend, so you have about 4 days in a row without seeing any rain. I'm going to talk about those rain chances in the full forecast as we're monitoring a cool front, a little bit of a cool down in the forecast also. Guys, back to you.
All right. Well, if you're leaving on a trip soon and you need a place to leave your dog, you might want to check out a new dog hotel opening in Austin. Ooh, I bet it's swanky. Take a look. Oh, yes, it is. This is D Pet Hotels Austin. It's opening in West Austin June 26th. The hotel describes itself as a luxury resort and spa for the distinguished dog. It'll offer boarding suites, which will include queen-size dog beds and flat-screen TVs. Really? But the amenities don't stop there, Brian. No, they don't. It'll also include 3 indoor air-conditioned play parks and a doggy boutique. That's better than the hotel I stayed at this week. That's pretty cool, though, right?
Lucky dogs.
You want to pamper that pooch.
Literally lucky dogs. Still ahead. Chilling video out of Houston this morning.
Yes, a man terrorized after his home was broken into. Why officials think the men who did it weren't amateurs, and the tactics they used that has some worried.